Lacrosse community, my name's Ryan Berns. I'm the president of the Lacrosse Leadership Institute. It's our mission to empower all those that love lacrosse, to recognize the skills you gain from the sport, to ultimately live the life of your dreams. Today, we're so fortunate to be joined by Ben Harrow. He's a retired captain and alumni of the Army West Point lacrosse team. We've had a couple of his teammates on already, and man, Ben has such an interesting story. I'm so excited for him to be here and share, Ben, how you got started in lacrosse and share a little bit about that journey to where we are today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ryan.
And Ben, do you mind sharing how you started playing lacrosse in the first place?
Yeah, so it really started just because I grew up on Long Island, so a lot of lacrosse up there, and I grew up playing hockey. Was kind of my first sport, and my hockey coach actually got me into lacrosse, and he said, go to a hockey camp, and then during the summer, just pick up a lacrosse stick and play lacrosse, and that's the best thing to do to get better at hockey in the off season. And then I just kind of gravitated a little more to lacrosse, and where I went to high school down in Virginia was this boarding school called Woodbury Forest. No hockey team down there, so I just was playing lacrosse all year round.
Well, it's interesting that you can take what you learn from hockey and other sports and ultimately deal with what you're given and make the best opportunity. And it sounds like from there you were able to play at, in most of our eyes, the highest level and play at West Point.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough, and I guess I put in the work, that's for sure, to get recruited to play Division I. And Army West Point was one of the schools that I got looked at, and I had the opportunity to play there, and I loved it. It was just a great time.
Well, Ben, thanks for sharing a little bit about how you got involved with lacrosse. Can you share over your experience, whether it was playing or now after your playing days or maybe post-college days, because I know you've suited up since then. What's a pinnacle lacrosse moment that you have?
My pinnacle lacrosse moment. I'd say that was probably senior year, playing versus Syracuse in the Carrier Dome and taking it coast to coast and scoring. It was just one of those all-time kind of cool things. But I mean, overall, I feel like just the opportunity that I had to play Division I lacrosse and at that high college level, I just loved every game I played and kind of cherished all those moments. Looking back, it's really those relationships and friendships that I have that are like the most tangible and that I'm just lucky to have.
I think that brotherhood that ultimately you have, and sisterhood as well for the female lacrosse players we have on here, is something that you can't necessarily describe unless you've had that experience of being on a team, working with 40, 50 of your closest friends to accomplish a singular goal. And those are some of the skills that we really lean on and try to promote during this conversation. Can you share some of the skills that you took from the lacrosse field and how you brought them into your life today or over the course of your life so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that probably the number one skill that transfers the best is, the hard work that you put in, you can see that result. And I think that's true in the military and special operations, today in the civilian world. I mean, even just being a parent, the work that you put in on what you're trying to accomplish, you get that result. And I remember just being a young high school lacrosse player and wanting to play D1 and spending the extra time to just work on my left hand and throwing against the wall for what seemed like hours, and just practicing my left-handed shot, and then just trying to figure out how to make myself the best all-around lacrosse player. Getting to the gym, working on my speed, working on my offhand, whatever it was that I could do to make myself a better player, I did it. And it's that will and that want. I think that's what it is. It's all about. If you want it bad enough, and you're willing to work for it, you can do it.
I really resonate with that, Ben, because I think of just two core values: work hard, positive attitude. If you want something and you're willing to work to get there, ultimately you have that success. And I think there's a lot of extreme accountability in that as well, because we're the ones who are in charge of whatever results we want. And I think that's something that I heard from you, not only in this conversation, but listening to the PLL Veterans Day conversation of it. There's a lot of ownership in what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, from in high school, I knew I wanted to go play at West Point, and I got told that I probably couldn't get in because of my academics, and I refused to be told no. And it was that internal drive that I just wouldn't let anybody. I didn't want anybody to determine what I could or could not accomplish, and it was on me to get that done. So I did what I had to do academically. I did what I had to do physically to get into the academy and to be able to play lacrosse there. And the same goes for being in the military and wanting to go into special forces. I did whatever I had to do and to prepare myself, and then also throughout assessment and selection to become a Green Beret.
We know that's no easy feat to be able to accomplish the highest level in the military, and same with lacrosse. It takes that discipline, the work, and it's only you can accomplish that. And I know that you're probably constantly working still today. I mean, I see your Instagrams where you're posting your workouts, and they're insane. And I think there's some parts of life that we probably take for granted because we don't necessarily have the same perspective in terms of what's happened to you out on the battlefield. And just in case our community isn't quite familiar with your story, do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, almost to the day. It was 15 May 2012, about 9 years ago. Stepped on a pressure plate IED, lost both my legs and some other injuries to my hands and arms and stuff in Afghanistan. So that was a long process, getting back, healing and learning how to walk again and trying to figure out prosthetics and trying to figure out a new normal. But it's like I said before, I didn't want anybody, whether that was the doctors or the therapists or whomever, to tell me, you could or you can't walk again. That was really, that was more of like a decision I was going to make. And it was a long process, and I had to figure out some unconventional means to get myself up and walking. But I travel all the time now for work, and I'm up and walking on prosthetics. And honestly, I travel more now without legs than I did before with legs, and I'm probably a lot more active than your everyday quote unquote normal person. So yeah.
And what comes up for me, Ben, is you don't let others define who you are. And I think Eric really hit this on the head: is you don't deal with labels. It's you get to decide what you want to do. So I'd love to hear. It sounds like starting even high school, you wouldn't let them tell you couldn't go to West Point because of your grades. You did what it takes. Same thing now. You're not being labeled as even a normal person. You're going above and beyond and staying extremely active. It blows me away just watching what you're up to. How do you go about that mentally, or what keeps you motivated? Can you share a little bit more about the mindset that goes into your just daily life?
Yeah. I mean, I guess my mindset is, well, I guess looking from the outside in, it must be kind of unique. But for me, it's just kind of like my day to day and what seems right and normal to me. Every day I want to keep excelling, whether it's in work or physically or as a parent or whatever it may be. It's having the ability to make every day a masterpiece, having the ability to do something and achieve something every day. And even if that's like a little thing, then it's a little thing. But over the course of 365 days, those little things start to add up, and I'm able to look back and really see the progression and where I'm at. So I just, I don't like I don't like being stagnant. I like continuing to grow. And that's just something I try and do every day, is I'm trying to improve myself every day.
I think that's one of the things we keep on hearing about strong leaders. They're always looking to do a little bit better. That may just be 0.1%, but over the course of time, it compounds upon itself and grows, and all of a sudden the result gets more and more and greater. Obviously, you need vision, and you have to decide where you want to go. And then it takes the hard work day in and day out to ultimately get there and accomplish that. But it's really neat that you say it's normal for you. And unfortunately, not everyone has that mindset, but it's because they don't know that that's a possibility. So I really appreciate you bringing that to this conversation, because that's why we look at you as a leader. And I'd love to hear what your definition of leadership is.
That's a tough one. I feel like, leadership is being able to motivate and have those around you achieve the end state that you put out there. And I have to do that now in the role and in the business that I'm in now. And it's difficult because, one, I work in the private aviation space. I'm not a pilot. Obviously, I have a lot of experience with planes and aircraft and aviation from the military, but I'm not a pilot. So I've had to, baptism by fire, quickly understand the industry that I'm in. Plus also the fact that we're geographically spread out and international. It is as another dynamic of being able to lead and achieve our overall goals as a company. So I'm constantly trying to figure out, how to do that. And the thing that I always fall back on, and something that I did in the military, is just lead by example. Even if it's just little things, if you got to be able to lead by example. Nobody wants to follow somebody that just sits behind a desk and dictates. You have to get out there and lead by example.
I think that's something we continue to see with everyone that we bring on this conversation. Leader Dom Starja says leaders have scars, meaning that they've been hurt once or twice, so that you can empathize with them. But everyone continues to say those leaders won't put someone through something they wouldn't do themselves. And I think you talking about no one will follow a dictator really comes up big for me there. Can you share any other examples about how you go about leading, whether it's in work or how you did it while you're in the Army, or even playing lacrosse or as a high school player?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes with leading by example, and what Coach Starja said about having scars. You can't be afraid to get dirty as a leader. I think that people respect that, and to be a good leader, you have to also be a good follower and understand what it's like being a follower, and what your subordinates want to see and hear in a leader. And they want to see that confidence, and they want to know that you're willing to get down in the trenches with them and to roll your sleeves up and do whatever it takes to achieve mission success.
What keeps popping up is do whatever it takes. It seems like that is something that you do no matter what. Then is that a mantra you've always had, or how did that come about for you?
I guess labeling it "do whatever it takes," you could say that's a mantra. It's more, in my eyes, do whatever it takes to achieve, to achieve the mission. It's something that I learned as a high school lacrosse player, as a college lacrosse player, as a Green Beret, as someone learning how to walk again as an amputee, is, no matter if I'm cold, wet, hungry, tired, legless, it doesn't matter. I still have to figure out what to do to accomplish the mission.
Ultimately, that's what we see the successful individuals they do. That's that extreme accountability. You really can't make excuses at the end of the day, because life happens to all of us, and this is a perspective of that. It doesn't necessarily matter. I think maybe our backstories, they are important, and we have those, and those define who we are, but we don't necessarily, maybe it means they're part of our history and that's where we are today, but we don't have to be defined by that history. Rather, just use that as a foundation maybe pack on a little bit more foundation so you are able to grow. If we think about building a strong foundation, what do you think that the youth can be doing right now to focus on allowing themselves to be successful or doing whatever it takes?
I say, maybe a couple things. One is realizing that it's not all about success. You have failures, and being able to learn from your failures, and not having those failures be setbacks, but more of like launching pads from you of, hey, you know what, it didn't work this time. How do I look at it? How do I assess it? What are my takeaways, and how does it help me build to become a better lacrosse player, a better person, whatever your goals are. And then also, I think, to be a better lacrosse player, a better person, whatever that may be, I think the mental toughness aspect is a big piece to it too. To be the person that can go out and do things that other people are not willing to, definitely puts you out ahead of the power curve, I think. Just being a little mentally tougher, especially as a lacrosse player.
Do you think there's anything that people can do to develop that mental toughness? Is it something you're born with? How do you go about that?
No, I think mental toughness is 100% something that you just develop. I think it obviously some people maybe start from a different vantage point when it comes to that from others, but it's just, I think mental toughness is something that you can continue to, sharpen and hone, and just practice. And I mean, there's little things that help with that, whether that's just getting in extra reps in the gym. For me, it was I remember I used to go to the track and do speed workouts at like the hottest part of the day when I was living in North Carolina, just because it sucked and just because it was harder. I got into like ice baths and taking cold showers in high school too, just because it sucked. And I knew that if I could step into that cold water, or if I could do the tough sprint workouts during the hottest part of the day, then when it came to like a nice fall practice or fall ball or a beautiful spring day in Virginia, running and chasing somebody down, it wasn't going to be a problem.
It's a walk in the park at that point.
Yeah, what it is, it's these little things, but the overall goal and concept, I think, is just being able to constantly expand like your aperture and your comfort zone. And the more that you're able to expand your comfort zone, the more you're able to accomplish. And doing these uncomfortable things, you don't view them uncomfortable anymore. You kind of just view them as like second nature.
Yeah, and I think that is part of how you develop the mental toughness. Is you have to be able to expand beyond what you think is possible. And I think that's a big part of leadership. A leader sees potential or capabilities inside their teammates or others that they don't necessarily see in themselves. So if they're able to inspire or make them feel safe, feel comfortable to try and wade into the unknown, ultimately, I think that's what creates that mental toughness. For you, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I think being able to take that first.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'd love to hear your comment. I'd love to hear your comments on that.
Well, I was just going to say, I think being able to step into the unknown it's scary for anybody, no matter who you are. But being able to take that step, and whether if you fall face down on your face, but just being comfortable with that, that's like a big developer in character in that mental toughness piece. For example, for me, learning how to walk on prosthetics, it really isn't natural. I mean, you kind of have to have like a good center of gravity and kind of be a little bit athletic to make it work and happen. But in the beginning, you fall. It sucks. Nobody wants to have to relearn how to walk. But at the end of the day, it's you kind of have to weigh, like, what do I want? Do I want to learn how to walk again? Do I want to have this kind of like normal life? Am I willing to accept the fact that I'm going to fail? Or am I just going to sit in my wheelchair and just be comfortable? And for me, I wanted to continue to grow, and I was ready to fail.
It's inspiring to hear that. And I'd love to hear more about what are some of your goals right now, or how do you go about goal setting currently?
Um, I so I just have so much going on in my life right now that I think to help with all my goal setting, I'm always writing stuff down. I have like my little leadership book slash journal, and I have to be able to kind of write stuff down, not just to keep track of everything that I have going on as a parent, as a president of a company, as just a 40-year-old athlete. I just have a lot going on. So I write stuff down, I journal. That way I can kind of visualize and see the things that I have to accomplish, the things that I have accomplished, and just being able to kind of take small bites at this big projects that I have.
I think that's ultimately what we continue to see the successful people do is they take those data points, they take the time to think about themselves, their overall visions. Do you have any goals specifically related to lacrosse right now?
No, I don't have any goals specifically related to lacrosse right now. I was able to, I guess I accomplished something that I wanted to do this year was go back to Woodbury just because I'm close enough to help out with the team. Was only able to get there one day. I wanted to go more and help out more with the team, but obviously with COVID, it's a little funky right now with people kind of coming and going. So, but nothing with lacrosse right now. I would love to see Army win a national championship sometime soon. So that's a goal.
I think that's all of our alumni goal. We want to give back and do whatever it takes to empower those guys to be successful. Ben, appreciate the time right now. I'd love to ask one last question. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the group right now?
No, I don't have anything I wanted to share. Just really appreciative to help out with this. Personally, lacrosse has meant so much to me as a sport and as a community. That when opportunities like this came up, I'm happy to give back in any way that I can and help other younger players develop and just help spread the sport.
And we're so appreciative of the love that you have for the game, the love that you have for the country, and the ability to share your story with us. Thank you so much for taking the time and showing us what resiliency and grit looks like. And it's really amazing and so excited to see what you continue to do moving forward.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.